A woman in Texas is less than a month away from being executed for a murder that did not happen. Hello, true crimers. This is the case of Melissa Lucio. Viewer discretion is advised. Melissa was born in Texas, and she was born essentially right into poverty. Her entire youth was spent being sexually abused by her own family. She was forced to get married before she was even 16. The man she married, she would end up having 5 children with him, but he constantly abused her as well. But eventually, he would just pick up and leave the family and left her to take care of all of the kids. She would get married again, and then she had 9 children with that man. But the cycle continued as well. She was constantly abused by him. He sexually assaulted her. Despite all of it, Melissa remained a caring, loving mother. She was never able to escape poverty, but she was always there for her kids, and she loved them dearly. This was baby Mariah. On February 15th, 2007, the family was in the middle of moving, and Mariah, she accidentally fell down a small flight of stairs. She was born with a mild issue with her feet, so her feet were kind of like stuck out to like the sides, and walking for her, it was just kind of unstable. And this is why she accidentally fell down the stairs. Now, thankfully, it appeared she was unscathed. There was no physical injuries that were obvious. 2 days later, when Melissa put her down for a nap, Mariah would never wake up again. Melissa immediately called 911 when she could not get her daughter to wake up. She was rushed to the hospital, but she was pronounced dead. Melissa didn't have a chance to grieve. She was immediately brought in for questioning by police. They kept accusing her of child abuse because Mariah had some bruises on her, which were resulted from the fall. She said over 100 times that she had nothing to do with her daughter's death over the course of this 5-hour interrogation. She was in a state of shock, and she's suddenly being berated with these accusations of murder. By 5 or 6 hours later, she decided to just say yes to their questions because she thought that was the only way they were going to let her go, but they took that as a confession. So she was arrested and charged with capital murder. Well, the DA at the time, he was up for re-election, so Melissa was convicted, and then she was sentenced to death. The DA that tried her, well, eventually he was arrested for extortion. When CPS questioned all of her kids, none of them said they were ever abused. Now new evidence is suggesting that baby Mariah died because of the fall, not abuse. Even the jury that convicted her, now they are saying that they would definitely change their minds. There's even bipartisan support from Texas lawmakers that are saying this is very wrong. She's scheduled to be executed on April 27th. There's a link in my link tree to sign a petition to help her. I am here urging you to please sign it.
An Indiana man is facing 650 years in prison for a series of crimes he committed decades ago. From 1982 to 1985, Stephen Hessler committed a series of rapes, robberies, assaults, and home invasions. He'd break in wearing a mask and then bind and torture them. In one case, Hessler pistol-whipped a man so many times he was put into a coma for months. The attack stopped in the late 80s once he was finally convicted of rape. DNA from that case would be used to convict him. Hessler was released in 1999. In August of 2020, police raided his home. They found about 30 pairs of women's underwear, as well as handcuffs and ski masks used in the assaults. Police also found photos from one of the attacks.
Let's talk about what happened to 4-week-old Brian Dos Santos Gomez. Brian was born on November 3, 2006. His parents are 23-year-old Maria de Fatima Ramos and 26-year-old Jurandir Gomez Costa. They're from a village in Minas Gerais, and they came to the United States 2 years before Brian was born. They wanted to come to the United States to have a better life for them and their kids, but unfortunately it was very difficult for them to come. So they had to resort to using coyotes to get them to come to the United States. Once they came to the United States, they ended up living at the Tropical Trailer Park in Fort Myers, Florida. Then on December 1st, 2006, Maria was out for a walk with 4-week-old Brian and her friend Janice. They had just finished going to some doctor's appointments and were waiting at a bus stop on Route 41 that was going to take them back home. While they were waiting at this bus stop, a woman in a 2-door black Ford SUV pulls up to them and asks them for directions. This woman says that she had been driving around for 8 hours trying to find her mother's house in Pine Manor. She asked Maria and Janice if they could help her out with directions, and the girls tried to help her out as much as they could. Then their bus finally arrives, so Maria and Janice tell the woman goodbye and they get on the bus with baby Brian. After a while, the bus reaches their destination, and when Janice, Maria, and baby Brian get off, they see that the same woman in the black SUV is now waiting for them outside the bus stop. This woman had literally followed them from their previous bus stop all the way to this new location. So this woman approaches the girls again and asks them for directions. She said she really needed to get to Pine Manor because her mother was watching her baby. She even offered to pay Maria and Janice money if they got inside her car and showed her how to get to the right address. Now, I'm not sure why they made this decision, but Janice and Maria decide to help this woman and they get inside the car with baby Brian. Once they get inside the SUV, Maria notices that there was a baby's car seat and a diaper bag in the back. So this made Maria and Janice feel a little bit better because this is just another mom trying to find her kid. So Maria and Janice continue to help this woman get to Pine Manor, and the woman tells them that after she gets to her mother's house, she will drive the girls right back to the bus stop to get home. While they're driving, this woman makes a phone call to her mother talking about how she's getting directions from Maria and Janice. This phone call was recorded, so I will put a clip of it here. This is part 2 on what happened to 4-week-old Brian Dos Santos Gomez.
Pero tú en cuánto tiempo llegas? Porque tengo que regresar a las muchachas. Okay. Yo te llamo para atrás, okay? Bye-bye. Okay.
So, as you can tell, everything about this phone call sounds normal. She's asking her mom for directions, asking her how long she's going to get there, and then telling her she has to drop Maria and Janice off when she arrives. So eventually Maria and Janice get this woman to her destination. Now they're thinking that they're going to get dropped back off at the bus stop, but that's not what happens. Instead, this woman pulls out a knife and points it towards baby Brian. She then demands $500 and tells them that she's going to Tampa, Florida, but that they can't tell anyone or they will hurt their family. Then she dropped Maria and Janice off at a roadside, and while Maria was getting out of the car, she reached for baby Brian. As she was reaching for her baby, this woman tells Maria that she needs to leave her baby behind. This woman was still holding a knife towards Brian, so Maria and Janice complied and they left Brian in the car. Then this woman told Maria and Janice that they needed to wait 10 minutes before calling the police. Then this woman drove away with baby Brian still in the car. Since then, Brian nor this woman have ever been seen again. Maria and Janice immediately call the police and they put out an Amber Alert for Brian Dos Santos Gomez. This is a description that they gave of the woman. She was a Hispanic female between 28 and 30 years old. She was heavyset and around 5'4" with straight black hair, which was partially pinned up in a bun. She was wearing blue jeans and a black blouse and spoke Spanish. At first, police believed that this was a random abduction since there was a car seat and diapers in the back seat. This means that this woman was most likely out there looking for a baby to take. The story she made about needing to get to her mother's house in Pine Manor was most likely just a ruse to get the woman inside the car. Police were rolling with this idea for a while until they found out the immigration status of Maria and Jurandir. When they found out that they had crossed through coyotes, they started to believe that maybe Brian was taken in retaliation of the coyotes. Maybe Maria and Jurandir had missed a couple of payments, and this is what the coyotes did to get back. However, the coyotes came forward and they said that they don't take children as retaliation and that they had nothing to do with Brian's disappearance. Then another woman came forward and said that she had also been approached by the same woman in the same black SUV that day. She was walking with her grandchild and the woman asked for directions. She didn't get in the car or give her any directions, but it could be the same woman. Now police believe that maybe it's a woman that had recently miscarried and wanted to raise a child as her own. Here is an age-progressed photo of Brian, and we hope that one day when he applies for a driver's license or an apartment, he will find his true identity. I hope that Brian will be found soon.